This is the Grow Business Podcast with Cory.
Take a break from talking about deli meat.
Exactly.
Maybe we'll do the podcast now.
Yeah.
Now I'm hungry.
Right.
That is the classic psychological thing. I know talking about club sandwiches and Italian sausages and everything. And
it's like going to the
I'm like, well, let's just wrap this up real quick. Maybe I'll just rattle off these last.
I'll tell you what.
These last four really quickly so we can get to lunch.
I went to a fast food place the other day that's a local spot.
Yeah.
And they had these gyros.
Gyros?
Yeah. That you could get like 2 for $7.
Okay.
And
how long's that? What's a gyro's lamb?
Yeah.
Okay. How long that lamb been on the roll?
I don't know. It's been on there long enough to be good though. I was like, ooh. I did not expect it to be that good.
All right.
At that place for 2 for $7. Yeah. And it's like taco size.
They got to get that lamb out before it goes bad,
Get it on Monday.
I never, I don't know. I never, that thing, particularly the traditional ones where you go in and it's spinning.
Oh, right.
And, just cooking and then they shear it off to make the thing. Is it always lamb? Is a gyro always lamb? It's not always lamb.
So if it's something else, they label it.
Okay.
As like a turkey Reuben.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like a turkey
gyro. So when you say gyro, that's lamb meat.
Traditional.
That is okay.
And the yogurt sauce.
The tzatziki sauce. Yeah. Ugh.
That's true.
I don't like any of that. I don't like any of that. Willie H has that stuff. Sometimes that sauce is splats on stuff and it's like
it's got a cucumber tzatziki sauce. Yeah. Yum.
Now I'm definitely hungry. Well, I'm hungry, but I know you're hungry. You're hungry for information on growing your business. And guess what? You have come to the right place. This is the Grow Business Podcast. I'm your host, Cory Mosley, joined by co-captain LG007. Lon Graham is in the building.
Voice of reason.
It's good
and high energy button hitter, producer extraordinaire. So I'm trying the honey first.
Saying that right.
I'm trying honey first. Producer extraordinaire is here, always on time, dropping the dime with the right line. Willie H is here. Hit the buttons, William.
Perfect.
So we're going to see how it goes. I set the table.
See how the incentive works, right?
I set the table.
Right.
So we're going to see what happens. He's had his breakfast.
There you go.
If you're streaming us on Spotify on video or YouTube, no, we look exactly like we did in the first episode.
Correct.
Because this is part 2.
Correct.
And we just kept talking. we took a little break, and now we're coming with part 2. Right. So, no, these are not the same episodes. Have not been uploaded twice.
Correct.
If you're looking at this visually, this is part 2 of our series, where we're talking about how to finishing strong, setting the stage also for a record-breaking 2026. In part 1, we talked about reviewing your numbers, accelerating your cash flow, refreshing your marketing, engaging your dormant customers, and we talked about rewarding and rallying your team. You also got some homework to do the 72-hour revenue sprint.
Yes.
So if you didn't, now you're not going to be confused if you start with 2, but I'd recommend you go back
right.
and do the first part as well, because we also talked about the stop, start, continue framework, which I think is one of the most powerful things you can be doing right now.
Yeah.
In terms of making decisions
for
what you're going to do with the rest of Q4 and rolling into, because, Lon, it's not like December 31st comes
right.
and then like you wake up and it's the 1st and like it's a fresh start.
Right.
Or like nothing didn't happen last week or you weren't in business or whatever. So, the month may change, the ball may drop and the year may change, but the decisions you make today and the weeks preceding that new year also matter.
Right.
Well, you better believe it.
Well, all you need to do is think about it in terms of some people use a calendar year, some people use a fiscal year, right?
Yeah.
Fiscal year that's the mindset of a fiscal year is you're continuing on building on what you've already done. Mm-hmm. And to your point, some people make the mistake, well, I'm starting again on January 1st. Well, no. You're building on momentum, but builds momentum. So what did you do? What did you do in November, December to set up for Q1?
That's right. So we're going to continue this conversation and kind of shift. We gave you those kind of elements for closing strong. Now we want to talk about kind of setting up the winning 2026. Yeah. Now we'll continue to go deeper on this as we lead up to that. But we really want to just set the table for people who are like, hey, Cory, what are some things we're doing right now?
Right.
And you know what? I typically don't think about the new year until we get closer. So I want to look at some ways to do that objectively. So we want to continue on, with that. And we're going to give you 5 more.
Okay.
And then I've got a couple of power plays we're going to throw out to you to do some homework and get you engaged and activated, because it really is you want to get people educated,
right?
You want them motivated, but you want them activated as well,
right?
And that's real, where the work is, right?
Yeah.
Knowing what to do, curing our goal here is to cure deficiency of knowledge.
Yes.
To come to what we're doing here, we're basing on our principles: position for growth, a 5-pillar framework, mindset, sales, marketing, operations, and people, and coming at everything really with that approach and simply trying to better prepare you. We talk about this. We're not here to be gurus and things like that, but we are practitioners.
Yes.
And the things that we're sharing with you, the things that we're doing in our own businesses, and the companies that we touch in our affiliated businesses. So that's the approach here.
Yeah.
We want you to leave here with some information that you didn't know, or maybe a perspective you didn't have.
Correct.
And maybe an opinion's different. Maybe it's I was talking to a client last night and we were talking through something and he's like, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Like that might be the most interesting breakthrough, like of our time. We were on the phone for about an hour.
Right.
And to me, I'm like, this is what I do.
Right.
Excuse me. It's just,
right.
Colin Mosley, baby. Come on now. You didn't think you was getting a breakthrough tonight?
Right.
Exactly.
Help
me. Well, hit it again. What is it?
This guy can help.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. That's exactly what I do over here.
Amen.
But it's always a cool thing. So that's ultimately our goal. So we'll do another 5 of these. So number 6 going into part 2, total of 10 we did, 5 we did before. So we're kind of moving you can call it 6 or 1, whatever you want to do for this episode.
Right.
But it's this idea of the year-end SWOT analysis, right? So having the opportunity from a tactical level to hold a leadership meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And let me be clear, you may not have a executive team.
Right.
You may not have 6, 7 executives. You may be a smaller business or operation.
Right.
But hopefully there is a team. And that team, as a reminder, again, that team doesn't involve employees. That team could be freelancers you work with. That can be the people that you work with that help make your business run. I have even when we refer to solopreneurs very rarely are truly solo.
Correct.
Particularly if you're trying to do, real revenue.
Right.
Like business revenue. Now, if you're, $40,000 a year, solopreneur, maybe you are doing it all yourself.
Right.
But even those people who appear to be, even if you think about famous people, even think about stars, right? There's always a team.
Oh,
Denzel's doing the acting, but there's a lot of people involved in everything else that's going on. So there really is a team, no matter what the tax structure is or the compensatory arrangements for that. There are people involved. So, hold a 90-minute leadership meeting to look at what has worked, what has not worked, and what market changes that you may need to prepare for. From an implementation standpoint, what are 1 to 2 new growth opportunities and 1 to 2 efficiency improvements that you can make going into 2026?
Well, I think one of the things too is you look at what I like to do is look at where we've had success and what does success look like, whether it be with clients or whether it be in a revenue stream, and how can we build on more of that going into Q1 for 2026, right? So let's say you've got 5 clients that all have these similar characteristics. Well, go talk to 5 more that are just like them.
Right.
Or ask them, each one of them, if they can recommend somebody that's like them. Those things that are working, you want to build on.
Yeah.
And, you talk about the SWOT analysis and so, but what's working?
Right.
Might be a guy to work with.
Right.
Because there's more money in that.
And, a lot of times, again, it's this classic in the business, on the business kind of thing. When you're going through the day to day, there's a lot of things I think that get missed. Just, trying to get through the day or trying to close deals, keep up with business. Maybe you've got too much business.
Right.
We've experienced a little of that this year with some of our clients who've just been like, things are going so well that now we've got personnel issue. Like one thing begets another problem. Right. But revenue, too much revenue has generally never been a problem for anybody.
Right.
Right. Now, I mean, again, the staffing, other factors could affect. Now, maybe service quality is affected if you've grown too fast. You need to make those adjustments. But these are the opportunities to do that and kind of take that step back. A lot of my peers, they go away. They have retreats. It's actually something I've actually given a lot of consideration to because my circle is so significant with business owners and people who run their own deal, to really coordinate that kind of retreat thing. Not a moneymaker, just a situation where people can really freely talk about what's working in an environment where we can share.
Right.
And no one's worried about competitiveness or whatever, and you really kind of get those best ideas. You have a mode to decompress. And so I know several people who do that themselves, have small groups of doing it.
Right.
But, so the medium, how you want to go about doing it, you can get deeper into as a logistic.
Correct.
But high levels of strategy, it's doing it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And, turn your phones off.
Right.
Or if you're on the computer, whatever it is, but create an environment where you can focus on that conversation and on those, okay, what are we doing? What do we like? What can we build on?
Right.
And that's an opportunity too, where so many business owners don't do this, is they don't look past next week or they don't look past tomorrow or they don't look past next week. And if you're an owner or a leader and you're looking into, Q1 on January 1st, you're late.
Right.
You got to be looking at least a couple of months ahead, and preferably more than that, depending on the size of your team and the size of your business. But how do you keep that momentum going? Because if all you do is chase what you got, you're going to stall.
And you better believe it.
Better believe you're going to stall.
That's exactly right. 100%.
All right. Next up, revisit and refresh your ICP.
Okay.
Now, for those of you that don't know the term ICP, that is your ideal customer profile.
Yep.
Who is your buyer? Who is your best customer? Who are you looking for? And it's interesting. I will ask people on the rare occasion I am cited. Where I'm going. On the rare occasion that I have been cited at a networking function of some sort.
Right.
I was fortunate enough this recently to participate in a program at the Robbins School of Business, which is, of course, University of Richmond. And I was part of the curriculum, and then they had the graduation.
Right.
So I went and attended the graduation, of everybody. So, you're in a natural networking, forced networking. So, I mean, they were great people. They were really gracious about, the part I played, and kind of the session that I was running to them. So I was with a group of friendlies, so it wasn't like a cold situation.
Correct.
But nonetheless, you gotta, you gotta network. So as I was engaged in some conversation, I'm amazed at the amount of people that you're like, who is your ideal customer? And it's kind of, they struggled a little bit,
correct.
With that. And even in the session, I was doing a session on proposals and, knowing your value, earning your value, how, if you're discounting, how to do that, how to, do proposals, particularly at the RFP level and the high level. And, we did this exercise, went around the room so I could just understand who was in the room.
Correct.
So these were all, all business owners, but different businesses. Some were in logistics, some were in transportation, some were professional services. We had, people that work with political candidates in there. We had people.
Sure.
So, and, I'd come to somebody and inevitably they'd go, oh, well, it's complicated. Or, so like, what do you do? Oh, well, a few things.
Right.
Like, okay, here we go.
Right. Here's a slash and
What
dash.
I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So, your problem right there
Correct.
So, that same person later, like doing a little Q&A was like, hey, what's one piece of advice that, if you could go back, because I, talked about getting started, over 20 years ago.
Right.
And I talk about in the book, Bob Freeman, a retired CPA that kind of took a liking to me in our corporate environment and brought me into deals that I had probably no business being involved in by resume, but worked out very, very well for his clients. But she's like, what's your advice? I said, probably figuring out exactly what I was offering as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Not understanding that and kind of navigating between the, what do you do and answering with what do you need,
right.
Was probably it in there. So that ICP is so important. And tactically here in this example, the suggestion is look at your top 20% of customers from 2025 and determine what patterns do they share.
So, yes, the first issue is that you have to have an ICP.
Sure.
You talk about the people that were in your event, and some of them do and some of them don't, and some of them think it's complicated because they make it complicated.
Right.
If you have an ICP, look at who's buying from you and make sure that that ICP fits them.
Right.
So if that profile is the people that are buying from you, great. Double down on that.
Right.
If it's not, then look at who's buying from you and maybe adjust your marketing, adjust your communication, adjust your outreach to attract more of the people that are buying from you, whether they match that ICP or not.
Right.
If they don't, you probably should adjust it to be more like the people that are already buying from you.
Voice of reason.
There you have it. Adjust your 2026 marketing efforts and offers to attract more of your best customers.
Correct.
I talk about this all the time. Nordstrom is $1 billion corporation.
Right.
Walmart is $1 billion corporation.
Correct.
They serve two different customers.
Yes, they do.
Now we've all probably been in a Walmart.
Correct.
Reluctantly.
Kicking and screaming.
So, and I would say more people that have been in a Nordstrom have been in a Walmart than been in a Walmart have been in a Nordstrom.
Correct.
Just by geography,
correct.
Just by where Walmarts are, where like look at a whole number of things, right?
Correct.
But so there's crossover,
right?
But they're not the same customer.
Right.
I'm not going to find an $850 pair of Ferragamo shoes in a Walmart ever.
Correct.
Not in my lifetime, at least.
Unless you're wearing them in there.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, exactly. And I probably, leave those at all. Bring out the Nikes. But
hold on, Buccaneers.
And you're probably not going to find Fruit of the Loom, which is great nostalgic brand. You're probably not going to find Fruit of the Loom in Nordstrom.
Correct.
I mean, just how they're structured. But they both can find success.
Right.
So if you, if you are caught in a chasm where maybe you're trying to serve too many people,
right?
You're trying to serve everybody. Oh, we want an entry level, then we want a premium. A lot of people don't, there's a reason why Toyota made Lexus.
Correct.
That, they didn't just try to put everything Toyota.
Correct.
And same thing for Nissan and Infiniti and Acura and Honda. There's a reason why they did those things.
Correct.
To create distinctive experiences. Now, make no mistake, the glass on your windshield on your Acura is the same on the Civic.
Correct.
So there's a lot of components, underpinnings, but there's that little difference that separates them. Now, you get in the Lexus, that door closes a little more solid than the Toyota. It's a little quieter because a little more insulation put in there. So the question will be, are you trying to potentially serve too many audiences?
Right.
From an ICP standpoint.
Well, and this is a great opportunity too, Cory, to look at. I mean, it's something we should do on a regular basis, but because we're coming to the end of the year, it's a great opportunity to maximize and take advantage of it and maximize it. Where's your profitability?
Right.
And if, Walmart's extremely profitable and they drive high volume.
Yeah.
Nordstrom is also extremely profitable and they drive high value.
Right.
And so where's your highest level of profitability? And then lean towards that. Recognize it if you don't know it already.
Right.
And to your point at the presentation over at the Robbins that you just gave, not everybody knows where that's coming from.
Right.
They're just like, I got revenue. I got to keep getting revenue.
Right.
Well, what's more valuable for you and what can you go faster? And once you figure out your ideal customer profile, you can stop talking to people that aren't in that profile and you can start talking to more of them that are and be more profitable that way.
That's right. And listen, one of the ways to go faster is to think about and consider the world of franchising. And we're super excited to be sponsored by Pecan Jack's Ice Cream and Candy Kitchen. Lon, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, thank you, Cory. This episode of the Grow Business Podcast is brought to you by Pecan Jack's Ice Cream and Candy Kitchen, now franchising nationwide. Pecan Jack's isn't just about handcrafted ice cream and artisan chocolates. It's about building joy, community, and opportunity. If you've ever dreamed about owning a premium dessert business with a proven brand and loyal following, this is your chance. Learn more about franchise opportunities at pecanjacksfranchise.com and discover how you can bring a scoop of success to your hometown.
I like how you did that in the camera, like to your. What about people listening in the car? I want you all just to visualize LG007 looking dead in your eyes.
Correct. Well, they're going to get the effect of the voice, though.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Because when I do this, I get a little bit more emphasis. That's right.
Tell them and if you go to the website, tell them the Voice of Reason sent you.
100% right.
Tell them the Grow Business Podcast sent you.
That's exactly right.
All right, let's move on. Number 8, modernize your digital footprint. So, tactically speaking, it's a phenomenal time to audit your website.
Yes.
Audit your social media.
Yes.
Look at your Google presence. Because outdated visuals or messaging send the wrong signal.
Yeah, and basically what you're saying, Cory, is what you're showing, what you want it to show, is what you're saying, is the messaging, what you want it to say. And have you made some updates to your brand throughout the year? Well, if you have, is your marketing reflective of those updates?
Does your brand story reflect your current level of success?
Perfect. Yeah. Absolutely. And that goes back to your, as you evaluate your customer profile, right? Your ideal customer profile. Is the message that you're sending reaching the people that you've identified that are your customer profile? And if that's been adjusted or changed and tweaked, then tweak your messaging so that it's directly to them.
Yeah, I like it. And that's, that's the imagery, right? That's even the about page.
Yeah.
Just kind of that whole approach. Particularly, hey, maybe you had a great year and you started out, with a DIY website. Now maybe it's time to bring in a professional. Like,
100%.
Don't ignore that. Cory, I get my business mostly from referrals. If you don't think people are searching you online,
right?
I mean, I can't. Well, we talk about it a lot,
right.
But like, I can't tell you the amount of people that I refuse to do business with because they have a crappy website.
Right.
It just sends the wrong signal to me.
Correct.
As someone who is always hiring competence,
right?
I'm always trying to choose excellence and hire competence.
Correct.
I just, and what kills me is the people that really promote something that's crappy.
Right.
Oh, check out my website.
Right.
And it's a dud. That's just dumb. Right. Find me on social media and it's a dud.
Right.
That's just dumb.
Well, and
yes.
And especially if you're in the value business.
Yeah.
Like if you're in the value services business, if you're doing things that raise profiles, that you promote excellence, and your messaging doesn't reflect that excellence,
right?
DIY website, unless you're a creative marketing person and you're building websites and you built this amazing website for yourself, that's great. But if you're not doing that, if you're an expert at something else,
right?
Hire some experts to elevate your brand and elevate your stories.
Yes.
Like, are your stories old stories or are they updated about customer success?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Next, update your processes and tech stack. I mean, there's just so much that's moving nowadays.
Yeah.
So from a tactical standpoint, what repetitive tasks can you automate? Can you use technology to implement changes in your invoicing, how you follow up, the workflows in your CRM? these things can help you free up bandwidth to be focused on growth.
Yeah.
And I love studying this stuff. We've got, vendors and people we work with. I just noticed one of our vendors is using a new system. So his invoice came over and it looks different.
Right.
And it's more efficient than what he was using before. And, I look at that stuff, obviously, based on what I do. And I scroll down. I want to see who the company is. I go to that company's website and see what's their new spin on invoicing.
Correct.
Or, are the fees reduced? Are there, how they do it differently? So really looking at that, and that was either financial or efficiency or both.
Correct.
But there was a reason there.
Right.
And that's a company that's thinking about those things. Somebody's making that evaluation. If you've been working with the same software vendor, forever, it's kind of like the fallacy of car insurance. The car insurance company, will convince you that, you're this loyal customer, great customer, so that you don't think to shop.
Right.
And you have to make that decision. Oh, I can get a better deal, but I've been there 15 years. Do I want to? So psychologically, so most people won't shop that. We don't shop cable.
Right.
We don't shop car insurance. Some of those things are just kind of like homeowners insurance.
Right.
I don't even talk to our agent. I mean, I know she is.
Right.
I guess I don't have a reason to, but once a year, the new packet comes.
Right.
I don't ever think to shop it in the market. It's just kind of you're checking the box and moving on. So, but this is a time to do that. Make Q4 your tech upgrade quarter, so you can hit January ready to ready to scale, not just survive.
Well, and you're absolutely right. And things that you can do that make you more efficient in Q4 now become a 12-month more efficient process for the next year. So you get more efficient, so it gives you an opportunity to build and plan and grow differently in all of 2026. Right. We're talking about getting started, but whatever you do in Q4 of 2025 sets you up for success in all of 2026.
Right.
And that becomes multiplied over time.
No, it makes sense. All right. Willie Yates is like, what the heck?
He's like, I can't.
Yeah.
We go.
He's like, let me handle that. We don't need your in-hole sound effect.
He's like, I got this.
Yeah, I got this. I hit the buttons mostly. We have to get him a reverse one. All right, last one. Lock in talent and partnerships before the new year. Don't wait till January to hire, train, or sign new collaborations.
Woo. When the church say amen.
Right? Secure the best people and partners while competitors are distracted by the holidays.
Yeah. And so, yes, and make sure that the people that are in your team, on your team, and your organization that are critical, make sure you're checking in with them.
Right.
And is there opportunities to reward them in 2026 for performance in 2025? Whether it be bonus, pay increase, in sales, maybe an extra point of commission because they're doing so well for you.
Right.
Give them some performance incentives. We tend to look at what we can add. Sometimes we want to make sure that we're protecting what we have.
That's right. That's right. I like it. There it is. We have prepared you.
Yes.
Now we want to challenge you.
There you go.
In our last episode, we introduced something called the power play. This is your homework. This is your assignment. This is your way to not just get educated and motivated, but to get activated to take action.
Yep.
So today we're going to give you 2 power plays.
Okay.
All right. To close out this 2-parter season opener.
There we go.
So power play, run a customer appreciation moment. Okay. So the premise is, people buy from people they like, we talk about that stuff. But the holidays are prime time to remind your customers why they like you.
Yeah. There you go.
So pick 10 to 20 of your best customers. Send them a handwritten thank you note or short personalized video. Post a gratitude wall on social media. Shout out those loyal clients publicly.
Yes.
Finally, offer a small thank you gift or a loyalty bonus that encourages repeat business in Q1.
Love it. Love it. And align it with them.
Yes.
Align it with them and what they do or what they're doing. And, I know it's hard to personalize it for all of your top 20 clients, but
right.
You can find something that's consistent across the board. The more you can make it about them, it reminds them why you value them.
Yeah. No, I like that. And, the fact is appreciation drives retention.
Correct.
And retention drives profit.
Correct.
Bingo! So the customer who feels seen in December are the ones who will still be with you in March.
Correct.
All right. So we got a double header.
Boom, boom.
Next power play is map your January launch plan. Don't start the new year thinking about what you'll do. Start executing it. So how do you do this? Choose your January growth theme, right? New year, new offer, growth reloaded. What's it going to be, right? What can you be thinking about? Schedule your first team meeting of the year right now.
Yeah.
Include 3 clear goals, 3 metrics, and 3 dates. Prep your first marketing push before you go on holiday.
Yes.
Social posts, emails, ads, have them ready to deploy on January 2nd. Because when everyone else is hitting snooze in January, you'll already be hitting send.
Ooh, that's good.
Let the church say amen.
Willie H is just literally about 90 seconds away from a home run show. I have any complaints. He's about 90. I should just say, take us out. I might just end it so we don't run. Can he make it another 120 seconds?
I like his chances.
Is the question.
Like
what do you think about that last power play?
Yeah, I like it a lot. And sometimes, depending on what business you're in, sometimes there's value in hitting send the week between Christmas and New Year's, because if your clients are home, you're reaching them while other people are trying to make noise in the first week of January.
Right.
You've already got a head start. So it certainly is business dependent. It certainly is dependent on what kind of business you do and who your clients are. But a lot of them are taking a deep breath between Christmas and New Year's, and you can reach them without all the noise of everybody else doing it. So it's something certainly if it's appropriate for your business and for your clients, consider that. But I like coming into January moving as opposed to getting moving.
Right.
This might be a guy I want to work with.
Yeah, no, that's it. And one of the things as you're thinking about the new year, part of that may be a new business. And that may be a franchise business.
Oh, my goodness.
And I don't know any finer franchise opportunity than Pecan Jack's Ice Cream and Candy Kitchen right now. Lon, what about you?
Oh, my goodness. Well, and before we wrap up, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Pecan Jack's Ice Cream and Candy Kitchen, one of the fastest growing dessert franchises in all of America. If you're ready to start the new year owning a business that's all about joy, community, and handcrafted indulgence, check out pecanjacksfranchise.com and learn how you can bring a scoop of success to your city.
I like it.
Like it?
I like it, and we like you. We appreciate you, our listeners. LG, what's the word that you always tell them?
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back. And next time, bring a friend.
Bring a friend. And when we say bring a friend, we mean make them a listener.
Correct.
Make them a viewer. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Apple, iTunes, Google Play, anywhere you consume a podcast. And if you like the visual aspect, you're very video driven, YouTube and Spotify are both video platforms for us. So we encourage you to do that. You can also check out all of our episodes at CoryMosley.com and pick up your copy of Position for Growth. This has been another episode of the Grow Business Podcast. On behalf of myself, LG007, and Willie H., we will see you next time. Willie H., take us out. You like that? Hit the snooze in January. You'd be hitting send.
I like it. That's good.
We had some gospel today on there.
We got some gospel. That's good.
Get them fired up. Some homework, though.
Yeah.
Take some action.
We're getting back, we're getting our momentum back.
Yeah, that's right. The groove is in.
That's it. That's it. Nice work.
Good job. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All right.
Save this one.
All right.